Just beyond these goldenrods and asters here, and a little screening of winterberry and gum trees and sugar maples and red maples, is the Thousand Acre Preserve. The preserve is a subcoastal forest, a maritime forest, just a few miles from the Long Island Sound and the Connecticut River, the granddaddy of all our New England rivers. And this 1,000 acres for many generations was just thought to sort of be a rocky, scratchy, wet, giant sponge, and really wasn't too developable. But in the last 25 years, we had to fight off two pretty significant developmental proposals for this land, which included condominiums and designed golf courses and such. And the amount of work that would have needed to be done to have that come to fruition would have really ruined the land. On this 1,000 acres are the watersheds, three watersheds that originate here. The Mud River, which is a watershed comprising about a quarter of that 1,000 acres, flows east into the Connecticut River through Essex and then into Long Island Sound. The Mud River, which is about maybe half this property, that flows south through Old Saybrook and directly into Long Island Sound. And the Trout Brook watershed, which flows west out of this property into Westbrook, into Patchogue River, then to Long Island Sound. When we finally won all our battles and fought to preserve this, we came through with state funding in the most recent legislative session. And when Governor Malloy signed the bill, he remarked that these subcoastal forests like this have another really important job that we forget. Sometimes when we have these unusual storms of magnitude, they can absorb the storm surge, and that is something that we haven't been able to emulate even despite our great engineering. So this 1,000 acres will be preserved in perpetuity, and it really helps assure our air and water quality, and I'm glad that we have an eye on conservation and the future this way. Certainly we need all the things that we need to do well and to thrive, infrastructure on our roadways and airports and such, but we also need open space for our health and well-being. The watershed that flows west out of this, the Trout Brook watershed, as it leaves this property, it flows through the Holbrook and the Westbrook wells, which are our important public water supply for about a third of the town of Westbrook. And then also here just on the eastern edge of this property, where we're in the Mud River aquifer, we don't have public water in this portion of this town. So all of the wells of residences, a good 1,000 or more, are from this Mud River watershed. And in fact, where we are right now, the water table is quite high. It's maybe 20 feet below us, if that. So it's a very important drinking water supply for sure. We have to be pretty choosy and well-informed at how we preserve our resources. We know, for example, that in open space parlance, we like to get open space preserved that either borders existing open space or has a wetland component to it. We know that wetlands are very valuable to wildlife. They're often the migration corridors, and also even the superficial wetlands, even those vernal pools, which are only impounded ponds for a portion of the year, much of that water percolates down through the layers of rock and mud and gravel, and that recharges the aquifer, which is our groundwater. And in these forests like this, which are subcoastal, they have the opportunity to soak up some storm surges from storms of unusual magnitude like we're seeing this new century. And with climatic change and sea level rise, we've tried to legislate to be able to have good post-storm responses and such. But really, in the long run, it behooves us to preserve resources like this.